looking great, and it is time for another episode of Car News. Starting things off optimistically, Toyota and Lexus are planning a new road-ready sports car. Now, as you know, Toyota and Lexus have had some historic successes in the past. Think LFA, think all that, the goodness, the LC, all of that. So it's good to see that they're still in the cars like this market, right? Because Toyota, like I said, in the mid to late thousands, were in a very protect our reputation and protect our sales mode. Around the 2010s, with the LFA and all that, they started to get a little bit more adventurous, and I'm glad that adventurous spirit is still happening at Toyota with this new concept. Not concept, but it's actually going to be happening. It's also expected to come from a new V8. It's probably going to have issues. It's Toyota. We just have to accept that. GR GT3. Nice race car. It looks pretty decent. I can't find anything to complain about it. It looks pretty decent. No, I'm guessing it'll look much, much, much different. Because remember, this is just like bare bones. Like, I'm sure those wheels will not be the actual stock wheels that will ship with it. I'm sure the grille design will be a lot different. I'm sure it's just like they're testing out the chassis and everything, and they just put this frame and body on it just to see how it would work, and they're going to style it differently from each and every brand. But I do like to see some bits here resembling the LFA, so that's really nice. If you don't know, the LFA had its big chubby cheeks around the back, which was nice. Yeah, I see it being pretty good. Pretty good car. Happy about that. Also, believe it or not, only 25% of Tesla Cybertruck reservation holders decided to buy the truck as Tesla officially finishes Cybertruck list. So remember when they came out with that little list where you put your email and then your name and then some credentials and then you're on the list? Turns out only 2.5% of those reservation, air quotes, holders actually wanted a Cybertruck, and I don't blame them. I personally wouldn't buy a Cybertruck. They're cool, but, I love economy cars. I would never buy a Tesla or a Tesla Cybertruck. So, big shock there. Not everyone's willing to lay down several $100,000 for a car that can, exist, I guess, kind of, maybe. Also, Nissan is making the Rogue plug-in hybrid. This will be their first hybrid in years. If you don't know, Nissan kind of skipped hybrids. Toyota and Honda, as Japanese brands, they were fully in on hybrids, right? They made the first hybrids, they continued with hybrids. Toyota and Honda made the most successful hybrids, and Nissan never really got into hybrids, right? They figured they wanted to have their own thing. They didn't want to be competing with Toyota and Honda because they knew someone had already won, Toyota. So they wanted to skip directly to EVs, which is why the Leaf came out around the same time that the Prius and Honda had already asserted themselves in the market, right? So, yeah, plug-in hybrid, not bad. The Rogue has been a pretty decent, reliable vehicle from what I've seen, and I'm very excited just to see what they'll be able to cook up. Whoa, that was trippy. And yeah, it should be pretty interesting. So, yeah, for that. Also, Kia is making a Kia EV2. Now, we've all seen the Kia EV9, which is a huge SUV. I think it's ugly. Kia is kind of like the laughingstock of car companies. They make cars that are very weird. So this is an EV with the ugliest wheels I've seen in my life. I'm sorry. The Prius hubcaps are ugly, but they're nowhere near this bad, right? Square, I don't like squares. I like pentagons. 5. For some reason, I really like the number 5. I think this just looks ugly. Also, weird, tiny little door handles for how big the car is, and this just ugly Kia styling with a tiny little rear window. It's just not for me. I'm sure some people out there will absolutely love it, but I think it's hideous. Also, Kia Boys 2.0, they found a new way to break into cars. Kia's response is comical. Like I said, Kia is kind of the latrine of the entire car market. They figured out that if you just take the door handle off, you can just unlock the car, which, it's true for a lot of cars on the market today, but again, especially Kias, because if you didn't know, a lot of Kia's cheaped out so much on these vehicles. Think of like the 2010 Forte, the 2009 Forte. First generation cheap, barely has an engine in it, right? They just took out everything they didn't need, and an immobilizer was one of those things. So that's when the original Kia Boys happened. Now the Kia Boys are stealing Kias, which is funny, because you'd think that if this door handle issue applied to all cars, why would they want a Kia? But I get it, I guess. Kia also insists that there is a software update that will work and everything, yada, yada, yada. Kia, if you're wondering what the response was comical, that Kia just said, well, it's not just our awful cars. It's everyone's awful cars. So don't blame us for our awful cars. That's essentially what they did. They just said, oh, it happens to other cars. It's not our fault, so leave us alone. Which is An astoundingly terrible response. Also, Stellantis. As you know, Hyundai's not. I mean, Chrysler, Jeep, and Dodge have been doing awfully. So what did they decide to do? Launch an EV coupe for Alfa Romeo. They've been putting a lot of effort into Alfa Romeo recently with the Tonsils and now this, and apparently a new SUV. So yeah, it's going to be a hot GTV and Spider EVs in 2024. Now, the reason why 2024 is significant here and why I will highlight it is because you may notice, like, Chrysler in the past, think the Chrysler Airflow, they've come out with concept cars and they'll say, oh, it's coming out soon, right? We don't have a definite date or year or anything, just soon. That concept came out in 2022, and we have not heard a peep or seen a peep of it ever since then. Them saying it's going to come out in 2022 at least gives us some hope that Stellantis may actually put some effort and actually make a car. I know, it's ridiculous to say for a car company. I know. Put me in the Birkenstocks again. Also, Tesla's Cybercab thing. I think this is ridiculous. I've seen this for so long now. Like, every time I check my news feed, it's all about this. Like, there are 3 different articles about this. Guys, come on. They're acting like it's going to revolutionize everything. It's going to be different. We know that automatic driving technology doesn't work all that well, right? Again, look at the minivan that killed someone just driving, right? And again, I'm not trying to be that person, the person who states the air quotes facts and, whines and complains about it. But it is an objective fact that the technology does not work all that well. And also, it's just ugly, and this is not what it's going to look like. We all know that if the Cybercab actually does come out, which I highly doubt it will. Like, remember the No, not the Cybertruck. The the EV Coca-Cola semi-truck. The Tesla semi-truck. Remember that? The Tesla semi? It was literally plugged into an extension cord on stage to get the lights and the computers running because it wasn't functional. How do you think they're going to go about this? It's going to be the same thing. They're going to show off some tinfoil thing plugged into the stage underneath itself because it can't even supply its own power. Elon Musk is going to talk about it for 10 years, and then it's finally going to come out in 2029 when the technology has already advanced past, and Tesla has already had a new fad that their fan base is already on. We know what this is going to be like. I'm sure they're even going to repeat the same incident. Like, it won't hit pedestrians, so some guy gets in front of it and runs them over, right? Something like that, like with the Cybertruck and the unbreakable glass. It's how Tesla runs. You get used to it, honestly, which is sad to say, but you really, really do. There's also a new Nissan Murano. Now, the Murano has always been kind of weird in its design. It's kind of like a cross, like, remember the Cross Cabriolet with the soft top? It's always been kind of like a Rogue, but not very serious. Like, sometimes it can be, like, a better choice than the Rogue, but sometimes it's also like the crossover, more fun choice of the Rogue. Each generation is like its own separate different car, and we've already seen the Nissan Kicks be rebranded, and the Murano has been too. So, I mean, it's honestly, it doesn't look that bad. I think we need more affordable, cheap, reliable transportation, and Nissan with the Versa, I think it's just going to end up being Nissan. Now, I don't think this looks ugly. I think it actually looks very attractive, and I'm glad to see car companies that are making decent cars. Now, I think the interior is a bit ambitious for a budget average car, but it's not bad, and I can see it actually happening. I mean, you can see that they pretty much worked everything out. I really do also like this. Nice, minimalist, you get the wood, but you also get the shine through. Doesn't mean that means that it's probably not real wood, but hey, I'm willing to sacrifice that. Not bad, pretty nice. Another thing that has also been refreshed is the Taos. It is now priced $1,000 more to $26,420,000. Now, usually if a car's, concept price goes up a little bit, people don't care, right? You don't even hear about it. But Volkswagen is in such a terrible place right now, right? They're having run-ins with their union, which is bad. They're closing factories in Germany, which they haven't done in years, right? And they either fire the union workers and cut costs or go bankrupt. And the Taos is one of their, if not their, best-selling car, and they really, aside from the Atlas, and they really, really needed an updated version. So when they were still coming out with an updated version, it seemed hopeful. Now that they're starting to raise the price and delay the production, yeah, we don't know about that. There's also a Honda recall of 720,000 vehicles, so yay, I guess. We've all seen Honda. They've been having so many recalls over the past few months. Like, I believe the last one I showed was like a transmission fluid issue, and now it's the cracking fuel pumps. It's just ridiculous, and we know that this is going to keep happening. I'm just so sad that I live in an era where I get to see all my favorite childhood brands turn to shit slowly over time. And also, it's classic, Toyota versus Honda, as Honda has decided to bring back the Prelude name. I'm sure it's going to be good. It's going to start at $31,000, which is decent. It's not an off-road. It's like a sporty Civic. That's always what the Prelude's been. That's what the Prelude is going to be. Yeah, so with that, thanks for watching. Don't forget to comment, like, and subscribe, and I will see you guys